Hey, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Now I'm back here in paradise, or as we all know, the vehicle auctions. And what we're gonna be doing today is we're just gonna be doing some auction car hunting, see what I can find, see if we can find anything interesting or just cool to look at. I do wanna take a moment and just say thank you for all the growth that has just been happening on the YouTube channel. Honestly, it's been pretty overwhelming just for me. I just would have never thought in a million years that I would be at where I'm at right now. And I just feel extremely grateful. Before we get into the video, I did want to make a quick announcement as to I actually have started a Patreon. So in the Patreon, what you get is you get access to our Discord community. So this is like me and my friends where we post about the cars that we're checking out, more auction cars, stuff that's for sale, as well as car spotting. And I think that's probably my favorite aspect of all this stuff, because it's just a cool way for me to connect with you guys and start building out the Tastefully Clapped community. So I'm gonna just keep working on that, keep giving you guys the content that you guys wanna see. But I think with that being said, let's get into it. All right, so the first car that I just came across is this 1989 Volvo 240 DL. And can we just take a moment to appreciate how well kept this car is for 1989? I mean, the body on it is basically flawless. Of course, it's gonna have its imperfections, but what I'm just saying is it hasn't been in a major front end, rear end, or side collision. So for somebody, this could be a good starting place. But the one thing that I think that's happened with this one, it has some sort of mechanical damage. First indicator that I'm gonna say right off the bat is you can see that there's some of this vegetation. It's almost like moss or whatever you want to call it on the bottom of the headlights that's starting to develop. So I'm sure that this car is sat for some time. But you can tell whoever had this really enjoyed the car. The one thing that I'm seeing in terms of the imperfections in the paint is just the clear coat is starting to bubble up. And I mean, that's pretty common for a car of this age. So we can disregard that. But if we were just looking for like major dents or dings or anything like that, the car is very clean. Like I'm genuinely impressed by this one. And with the cult-like following of these old Volvos, I'm sure somebody out there is gonna buy this one. And I would be really sad if this got parted out or crushed, because it has so much potential. And I mean, even look underneath, very clean. Doesn't look rusty. Let's check the wheel wells real quick. Yeah, man, this is a good one. This is a really good one. The tires, what kind of tires are these? Yeah, Michelin's. Not like Pilot Super Sports or anything like that, but they look relatively new. It looks like it's got some aftermarket antenna on it, so maybe it does have an aftermarket stereo, and we could take a look once we go inside. It's pretty rare to even see that the antenna is still there. Usually these get knocked off if you go through like an automatic car wash or something like that. So this is actually a good sign, because that shows that maybe somebody hand washed this car all the time because they just loved it so much. Let's take a look. Wow, it's even got a full battery. Is that a thing of gasoline? What is this? Wow, look at this old jerry can. What the hell? Is this safe? It's just almost like a tin can for your gasoline. That's really cool, actually. We got some sangria, and I don't know what's in the plastic bag. It's not my place to start opening up stuff, but I'm sure there's some other goodies in here. Even the door sounds nice when it closes. I mean, look at the striker and the latch. It's very old school. But the crazy thing is this car has 333,000 miles. And honestly, I'm not shocked by that at all. These old Volvos, they don't die. If you keep them going, they'll go forever. But unfortunately, this one did finally meet its demise. And just as I suspected, the interior looks really nice. On the front, I do see that the fuse box is exposed. So somebody's been tinkering, trying to figure out something. Maybe it's an electrical issue. Could be a lot of different things. It does have the old school roly-poly windows, rollers, scrollers. It's got the aftermarket speakers. My God, these are so small. What are these, like 4 inches, 3 inches? Now what I also see is I see a bunch of other wires going all over the place. Now this is making me suspect to believe that this could be causing what's ever happening in the car. I don't know. It just looks kind of sketchy just by this electrical tape holding these wires together. The radio looks okay, but I don't know. It just looks kind of sus, if you ask me. But again, it's not like an aftermarket alarm or anything like that, so it could be absolutely nothing. But I would at least start there if I was gonna buy this car. Now, you typically get to see like bolster wear on the driver's seat, and this one's a little bit dirty, but that cleans up pretty nice. That's pretty easy. It also doesn't have a key, because they would provide the key and it would be zip tied around the steering column, but I see in this case it's not. So unfortunately I won't be able to start this one. But I mean, there's the mileage right there. And it's even got the little dash mat on top. And I mean, it's just hiding all the cracks. So this dash is actually pretty cracked up, but not a lost cause at any means. Now here's a look at the engine, and it's the 4 cylinders. Man, usually these don't die. If you were able to manually crank this over, you might be able to find some more information about the condition of it. But of course, we're at an auction and you're really just rolling the dice here. Something that is a little concerning is I do see cobwebs starting to develop. So that just tells you that this has been sitting for quite some time. But I don't see any major rusting. I look down here at the bottom of the engine and typically you'll start to see rust develop, but I do not see it on this car. They yoinked the battery, but that's okay. It's probably the most expensive thing on the car as it sits. It looks like these are not original. So somebody's been in here maybe having power steering leak issues or some sort of thing like that. I think these are actually fuel hoses going to this, but I could be wrong there. It's all there though. Coolant's a little bit low, but I wouldn't speculate too much or look into it that much. All right, guys, we got an honorable mention here. It looks like we got a S13 Front Clip. And you may be wondering, why would I pay any attention to this pile of junk? But this is just the turn of the times, and this is just slowly starting to show you guys that these are actually gonna be very valuable one day. And this is not just from a left-hand drive car, but this is actually a right-hand drive Silvia. So it looks like the dash is completely weathered and destroyed. It doesn't have the cluster, but for somebody that needs body panels or even the whole front clip itself, this is actually pretty easy for somebody to just go out and purchase. The hood definitely has a dent in it. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see that in the filming, but there's a lot of good parts still on here, even though it has no engine. Just thought it was kind of interesting, kind of cool. You can see this one is definitely from Japan. So yeah, pretty neat. All right, guys, the next car that I just came across is this Honda CR-V. And I know, before you guys start going in the comments telling me that this car is so boring, you've seen it a million times. I mean, I still see these on the roads today. Just hear me out. This Honda CR-V actually has a manual transmission. I've never actually seen a manual transmission CR-V before, so I just found it fascinating. And the thing is, the body's really clean. I mean, it is really, really nice. But there's something going on with the windows. I don't know what's going on there. It looks like maybe they rolled them down and they weren't able to roll them back up all in one piece. I think I did see a little bit of body damage on the front of it, but it's something very, 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 very minor. I mean, this is crazy if this is the whole reason this car got totaled out. I mean, this is just silly. You could probably fix this with like a zip tie in less than 5 minutes. But I don't think that's the reason that this car got totaled out. And I'm willing to bet, and I haven't even opened the door on this thing, I promise, that this is a theft recovery. Because these cars get stolen all the time. Every single time I see one of these old Hondas, 9 times out of 10, it was stolen. So this car, I believe it has 197,000 miles on it. And for these old CR-Vs, honestly, you're just breaking it in. The unfortunate part with the B series and these cars is they have a tendency to lose compression over time. So they'll go forever. Trust me, these things don't die, but you'll eventually get low compression, but this thing will still run. So let's take a look at the inside. Oh, and they were a musician. Okay, well, that's interesting. It looks like somebody was living out of this thing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on the inside. And it doesn't smell too great in here. It actually smells like fuel because we got an open jerry can. So I'm gonna try my best to kind of keep my distance, and I'm kind of grossed out by this. The more I look, the more mold is developing and stuff like that. And I think it's just due to the fact of the windows being open. So this car must have been dumped. But I see that the steering column's in one piece and the key is there, which is kind of interesting. So maybe I'm wrong. But let's just keep looking, see what we can find. And again, this whole driver's door is just completely sealed off. I believe, you know, a lot of these auctions, they go out and buy like this industrial grade tape. It's not even like tape. I don't know how to explain it, but it just keeps all the moisture out. But all the panels are there. Even the seats look nice. You know what I found really fascinating is you can put these in a Civic. I didn't realize you could put the front and rear seats from a CR-V in a Civic. They're just like Legos at this point. Now let's take a look here. The manual transmission. It's so bizarre because I'm so used to the column shifter on these Hondas. And aha, it was stolen, see? Did I not call that? Yeah, you see, somebody really messed up this ignition. Really, really messed it up. And it looks like there's also a piece still inside the column. I don't know what they used. Maybe like a dummy key to get it started. And now I'm just very curious. Will this thing fire? Dude, this thing is really messed up. Let's see. No way, man. She's a goner. I do see another set of keys in here, though. What's that all about? These look like something for like a padlock, though. It's got a nice Kenwood stereo. Gotta love the Kenwoods. Now let's roll through the gears. Oh, is it in gear? What? Oh. Yeah, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and reverse. The thing is, the throw is very interesting. It almost like pulls back the shifter. So when I go to second, it's like abnormally down this way, if that makes any sense. Just feels kind of goofy. But I'm not mad about it. But it doesn't feel like a Civic. It definitely feels like its own thing, which is pretty cool. I don't know, maybe this one's worth it? You guys in the comments can let me know. This thing is pretty moldy inside, so I'm gonna get out of here before I get sick. Not the bad at all. Okay, so I just came across this 2004 GMC Sonoma pickup truck. This is very fascinating. I didn't even know that this thing existed. I believe it's a ZR5, unless somebody put some sort of decals on this. This looks like a really cool little off-road truck. Makes you kind of wonder what's it doing here at an auction. It does have all the goodies. He's got the front hitch. He's got some upgraded sway bar end links, it looks like. Bushings look to be in good shape. It's got these seriously aggressive knobby tires that look to be in really good shape. It's got some rough country suspension. Not sure what that's all about, but it looks to be in really good shape. I don't see any major rust or anything like that on the undercarriage. And looks very tidy under here. You know, I do see a little bit of dry rotting on the lower control arm bushings, but I mean, that's to be expected. It's a pretty old car. It's got 210,000 miles on the clock, and I was genuinely impressed when I opened the door because the interior looks really nice by American car standards. Leather interior. I mean, this one looks like it's spec'd out. It's got a whole bunch of different goodies in here. It's got the double-din touchscreen. I mean, somebody really liked this car, you could tell. It's even got the McDonald's fries. Comes with the car for free. I mean, that's a huge bonus. Not bad at all. Let me see if it'll fire. Put the key in. Yeah, it's got nothing. I don't see any body damage on it. Maybe it's something mechanical? Is there anything in the bed? No, not really. I do see a steering wheel cover thingy. The bed looks to be in good shape. It looks like the frame's not bent. Sometimes on trucks you'll see them kind of taco in because the frame's rotting or something like that, but I don't see it with this truck. Yeah, the undercarriage looks really solid. It's a nice little truck. Kind of neat. Maybe there's somebody out there that likes these things. All right, guys, I just found this Lexus LS460. Very executive car. Like I said before, I've had the LS400s and I absolutely love these chassis. This is much newer than the ones that I've owned in the past, but I'm gonna show you guys exactly why it's here at an auction. Now, it looks like the primary body damage is here. So this fender would need to be replaced, the headlight, as well as the front bumper reinforcement. You might be able to get away with reusing this, but it'd probably be best to replace this. I'm looking at the welds and it looks like they're still intact. When it goes back to the frame like this, it looks very straight. So this looks relatively straightforward. I would definitely, yeah, after looking at this a little bit more, I would advise actually replacing this whole crash beam. So a lot of this is more just labor than anything. I mean, you got little bits of the fender liner coming apart, but that's all pretty well and dandy. Pretty easy to see why this thing got totaled out. But for somebody that's even a little bit handy, you might be able to put this back. Now I do also see that there's a reinforcement down here, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that little pinch right there. But whatever holds this down at the bottom may also need to be replaced. But from a structural standpoint, the rest of the car looks fantastic. I mean, these are really nice cars. This is something that if you have the space for it and the means to keep it running, you can enjoy this for 10, 20 years and really, really get to have something that's very special. I mean, look at how luxurious. I think Lexus is known for having the most awards for having the smallest amount of panel gaps when it comes to vehicle production. So there's just a sense of quality. And it's got these perforated leather seats in the back. And I think these are more exciting to sit in the back than in the front. I mean, look at this. This is so luxurious. It even smells like new car in here. So you can kind of put yourself in the front seat of driving one of these things. Now, for somebody that's not really into luxury cars, this is probably not going to be the car for you, but I always have a soft spot for these, and I think these are awesome. Now, let me go in the front seat real quick. So it's got 216,000 miles. But you have to remember it's a Toyota, so as long as you take care of it, it'll take care of you. And for 216,000 miles, I am really impressed at how well kept this car is. Maybe they drove it long distances for like road trips. Maybe there's some sort of businessman or woman that's constantly on the move. I mean, even it's got this little rest for your palm when you use the little, I don't know if this is like some sort of Lexus version of iDrive, but this is where you kind of navigate and use things on here. I'll see if there's any juice in the battery. And there is. Look at that. Wow, I love the clock. That's really cool. Yeah, this is a beautiful machine. What does it say? Caution. They're averaging at 30.2 miles per gallon, this thing? There's no way. I find that very hard to believe. Looks like the GPS is trying to boot up, but let's see if it'll fire. I mean, dude, come on, man. This is sweet. I'll take this off your hands for top dollar. Seriously, this car is worth fixing 100%. Listen to that engine, silky smooth. Yeah, what a smoothie. This is a beauty. Not even the wheels are curved or anything like that. This is a fantastic little car. Well, not little, quite large actually. I don't even need to pop open the hood. I can literally just put my fingers right here and I can just feel that there's no vibrations coming from the engine. It is so damn smooth, man. What else do you want? Wow. I'm impressed. I think this is a good one. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, guys, I just came across this Mercedes S600 Coupe. Now, this is very interesting, and the first thing that I noticed right off the bat as soon as I came over to the trunk is that it has a Sony Walkman. Isn't this is pretty cool. You know, this is such a homage and throwback to the 90s. I mean, it fits the car so perfectly. Maybe this was a Mercedes special, and I swear to you, I didn't pull that out of the car. It was literally just sitting right on top of it. So maybe somebody walked by and found it on top of it. Now, I'm trying to figure out what these little pieces of metal protruding out on the quarter panels are. I don't know if these are some sort of indicator or antenna, but I just thought that was interesting. But what makes this so special is this is a V12 model S600. Very large car. I mean, just to walk over from the front and back of it, it feels like getting a full workout. But here's the primary damage that happened here in the front. So of course we're gonna need to do some massaging with the hood. I'm sure that this costs a lot alone just to replace this. So if I were going to go out and rebuild this, I would try and salvage this as much as possible because it actually looks to be in relatively good shape. But the front bumper cover is a different story, and what actually happened and bent down the front bumper cover is what's more concerning. Now this is the front bumper reinforcement. This is what holds the, essentially is like the crash beam and what holds the front bumper together. And this all got pushed and brought down. So just something that you need to consider if you were to take this on. But honestly, in the grand scheme of things, it looks like a relatively easy fix, and you're getting a lot of car. And I'm sure that this won't go for too much because people kind of shy away from the V12 models just due to the overall skyrocketing expenses of maintaining a V12 engine. Let's take a look at the other side. I see the fender looks pretty good on this side. So I guess you could say this is the good angle of the car. But these are very executive vehicles. And it looks like it's got a little bit of juice in the battery because when I open the door, the windows still go down. Very nice. And I mean, look at the glass. I mean, this is so thick. It doesn't look, I don't, maybe is it bulletproof? I don't know. But it's very thick. Helps with the sound isolation, I'm sure. And the interior is all here, but it's riddled by the electrics of old Mercedes. It looks like somebody maybe was trying to move the seat forward or backwards. Thing doesn't move, so they had to start doing a little DIY investigation. And that's the scary part with these old Mercedes, is when the electrics go bad, watch out. You know, I don't want to completely write this off as like a basket case car or anything like that because it looks really spectacularly nice on the inside. Even the rear seats, I don't think anybody's really sat back there. And of course it is a coupe, but this is a very large coupe. You got a lot of space in between you and the passengers in the back for what it is. And there is just a sense of build quality in this Mercedes. And it goes for just like this era of Mercedes in general from the 90s. This is kind of like the golden age to a lot of people when it comes to, you know, just the driving superiority of Mercedes at the time. Yeah, this is a beautiful machine. Here's a look at the top of the headliner. It's got these vents on the sunroof. Maybe that's if you wanted to pop open the sunroof and be able to get some air channeling in. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I don't think I've seen that before. Yeah, this is a sweet little car. Let me know what you guys think about this one. But let's move on. All right, guys, I just came across this Ford Mustang. It looks like it's been in a washing machine. I don't think there's any clean panel on this car. And it looks like whoever was doing the estimate just riddled it with all these little markings of where there's body damage. So typically what they'll do is they'll draw a line just to indicate where there's a little blemish. I mean, to a lot of people, this wouldn't bother me at all, but if you want to be a total perfectionist, when you're totaling out these cars, you have to go through every single detail. So it's essentially part of their job. It looks like this got hit in the front. So we got splitting over here on the trim as well as the front bumper. But a lot of this stuff is so minor that, you know, you can kind of get away with just like putting this stuff back together. I'm even thinking you use a little bit of, you know, some super glue. You may be able to save this. The front bumper just needs to be realigned again. I don't know what happened here with the headlight. Maybe they took it for whatever reason. And they even did the justice of zip tying it. So whoever was, you know, evaluating the car, they took the extra measures just to keep things here. And maybe this is actually holding the entire front bumper completely. And this is some tastefully clapped innovation that I really enjoy and I like. Now, I'm not the biggest connoisseur of the Mustangs, so I'm gonna have to look to you guys in the comments to maybe give me some more information on this one. I do see a little blemish here, but again, it's all very minor stuff, you know? But when we start to come to the rear end, things are gonna start to make more sense. Now, they have like this industrial grade tape that they put over here to seal the trunk down to shut it up because it got hit in the back. But again, very minor accident. Again, if somebody just takes the time and goes through the entire car, this looks like a relatively easy fix again. This is like a body shop special, really. Just all these little minor imperfections here and there. It doesn't look too bad at all. Now it's got 48,000 miles on the clock. Let's check out the interior. Not bad. It looks pretty good. This looks a lot more luxurious than the Fox bodies and the 90s Mustangs that I remember from growing up as a kid. Unfortunately, it is an automatic transmission. No hate to anybody that likes automatics, but you know, if I was gonna go out and get a Mustang, I'd probably shoot for one with a manual, but it looks nice. Oh yeah, these seats are actually really comfortable. Not bad. System off to save battery. Turn ignition off or start engine. Okay. Can I even start the engine? Let's see here. No key detected. Well, I'm holding the key. What else do you want? That's not good. Come on, start it up. You gonna start for me? I got the key. It's right here. God, cars are just getting so technologically advanced, it's kind of just frustrating sometimes. So unfortunately this one doesn't fire, but for somebody that's just even a little bit handy, this seems like a relatively easy fix. All right guys, I just came across this early 2000s Subaru Impreza. Now it's not a WRX. The first indicator that it's not a WRX is it doesn't have the hood scoop. The hood scoop is typically designed for the top mount intercooler that comes on the turbocharged engines. And the thing is, I actually have a bug-eye wagon myself, but I just thought that this would be a really cool car for somebody that would want to get into rallying or rallycross, because this is something that I do with my friends. And when you go to the rallycross events, half of the cars there are these old Imprezas because they're tough, they're all-wheel drive, and they're really good fun and very dynamic and loose surfaces. And this one looks to be relatively clean. I do see that there's some bits of glass, so maybe that's kind of making me believe that this might actually have been stolen at one time. And I don't think the key giveaway is the fact that the door handle is actually popping out and protruding. I'll see if I can still open it. Oh, that's pretty good news. But you could tell somebody tried to steal this one. They shoved like a flathead screwdriver and then it went inside here. Now the steering column is in pieces, so this 100% got stolen, which is a shame. These old Subarus, they get stolen all the time. I mean, it just happened to me very recently, so that's something very unfortunate to see. But it does have a 5-speed manual transmission. Let's go through the gears. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, a very common thing to see on these older bug-eyes is there's usually a lot of slop in the bushings. They tend to just go out and they get very worn, but this one actually feels really good. It's got 167,000 miles on the clock, and the ignition is actually not destroyed. So maybe they did all this mess to try and get past it, but then they just used something very simple, maybe just with some lock picking skills, and they were able to bypass all of that mess of trying to essentially just break the ignition to be able to start the car. And I think it's got some juice in the battery, so let's see what happens here when I try and start the car. Give me 1 sec here. Do any of these keys work? Maybe they did mess up the ignition, because none of these keys work. Yeah, none of these keys work. Shame. Okay, so there's no way for me to start this.